Siddharth-Garima, welcome to CNN News 18.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're the super hit writer jodi of Bollywood. You of course have written films such as Sanjay Leela Bhansali, Ram-Leela, and you are of course the songwriter for Animal, that's starring Ranbir Kapoor. Your latest song Satranga is topping the charts. It of course features Rashmika Mandanna and Ranbir Kapoor. How this song came into being? Did the tune came first or the words?
So we closely work with our music director. His name is Shreyas Puranik, and he had made a tune one day and he sent it to us. And I think both Sid and me, we felt something for the tune, and these words came by quite naturally. And then
so we just written the mukhda of that. मतलब उतना लिखा था, and then you know what happened is there was a party in my place, Diwali party, and we were just singing because Shreyas was there, guitar पे गाना चला रहा था तो सुन रहे थे हम लोग. And that's how Sandeep Vanga heard it, and he said कि this suits my situation, पूरा हो चंद्रमा and all. So can I take it in Animal? So why not? मतलब
that Diwali party is particularly special for us now, looking back, because he kept asking us to sing it again and again. Our music director was singing it again and again, and then Mukhda was already there. When Sandeep Vanga took it, we actually worked on the antaras as per the film situation, and that's how the whole song then came together beautifully.
Right.
So from the video, what it seems like, in the film, Ranbir Kapoor character has come home late in night. It's a Karwa Chauth night. Right. And their love is being described with these beautiful lyrics. Badrang mein satranga hai, ye ishq re. What is it that you wanted to say with the song?
What I would say is we cannot reveal much. Once you watch the film, you know what happens in that particular scene, because if you have seen the song, there is dialogue going on, which is not being shown here in the song. So जब आप फिल्म देखोगे वो क्यों बदरंग है और क्यों सतरंगा है वो आपको ज़्यादा अच्छे से बताएगा.
Also this whole thing of our love survives even in the tragic times. That is something we wanted to communicate. There is something which is very unfortunate about that situation which is happening, and yet love has its all 7 colors on display. That's what we wanted to say. And when it's on a Ranbir Kapoor, you are even more inspired to give something like that.
So then when you structure a song, does it has to be Antara Mukhda, or it could be like, one different
verse? It can be. We are very free flowing that way.
Like in this case, it's a structured song.
It is a structured song, but having said that, it has no second Antara kind of a thing. It has a verse kind of a composition, which is very Western in nature actually, if you see that way. But the situation is only such कि ऐसा लग रहा है poetry चल रही है. Like a lot of people on Twitter and social media have commented that this looks like a poem. So because.
But do you miss songs? Lip sync songs are missing from the films.
Depends on the situation. Sometimes, mostly in a Sandeep Vanga film, typically, I don't see the place for a lip sync song. It didn't happen in Kabir. It's not going to happen in Animal, I can tell you. Because lip sync is it's a very क्या बोलते हैं ना, प्रस्तुत चीज हो गई. और परोक्ष में जो एक आपका stream of consciousness का thought चल रहा है, that is something that happens with his characters.
So are you saying कि when you lip sync, that time you are allowed to reveal, express your emotions with words?
Absolutely.
Right.
And when the song is in the background, you can't do that?
No, then you're talking about what you're not saying.
Yeah. So what the dialogue of the film is not saying, the song is saying in that.
Yeah. It's more about the subliminal thought which is behind it.
In
That's
fact,
what you're saying.
for songwriters, it's even more fulfilling that a song is not lip synced and it's actually saying something which the film doesn't say otherwise.
Yes, but having said that, I think today's cinema definitely misses lip sync.
Yeah,
that is for sure, because वो हम इतना चले गए हैं Western culture और Western films को एप करने की तरफ कि Oscar में nomination हो जाए and all that, is that you tend to lose, I feel, what belongs to Indian cinema as such.
Are you saying कि गाने should be lip synced?
They should be.
Ideally, as far as possible.
हाँ, कभी situation होगी.
To each filmmaker their own.
Their own, I guess. सबका अपना style होता है.
So then Pinga में क्या एक approach थी कि to have a duel with the two ladies कि एक competition की idea था?
Yeah, the thing is that both the characters are coming face to face over there, and वो अपने प्यार के बारे में बोल रही है और वो अपने प्यार के बारे में बोल रही है. एक ही इंसान से प्यार करते हैं दोनों.
So the approach for Pinga was actually the screenplay. For us, we love writing situational songs. We love writing to the screenplay. Because during Ram-Leela also, I remember all our songs flowed in the screenplay. We had written 4 lines of the Mukhdas every time we moved from a scene.
Screenplay.
Yeah. So Pinga was the same thing. We referred to the thing, ki, okay, these two women are meeting now. They've been not talking to each other all this while. What will they say to each other?
So was vocabulary different?
It was like, वो बोल रही है तूने जिया में उतारी जो पहनी पिया की कटारी. So this is not the language of
Kashi Bai.
Kashi
Kashi
Bai.
Bai.
Yeah, this is not. She would not talk कि तूने जिया में उतारी. That tone of saying only is Deepika's character.
Yeah.
She's speaking in that language to her, that because it's almost like an allegation.
Yeah.
You know, and Deepika is actually dancing there. She's converting into the Marathi culture in spite of being a girl from MP.
Yeah.
So we had to keep those things in mind.
और फिर काशी भाई ने क्या कहा था?
कि तूने
दोनों की ही मांग लगे आधी सुनी
आधी
आधी
लाल.
लाल.
That was the most.
So
Yeah.
Eventually they are both magnanimous and they both have to.
Yeah, because she's quite emotional about her marriage ना. मांग तो इसकी तो भरी नहीं क्योंकि she's also plays a Muslim character मस्तानी. वो बोले दोनों की मांग लगे आधी सुनी आधी लाल. मतलब there was a thought.
What a lovely the way to come up with songs. But you know, before moving on, you both are directing films now.
Right.
You have two films ready to release. So one is about surrogacy,
Right.
and other is about honor killing.
Right.
What is the status? What can you tell us at this
So
stage?
the one which is on surrogacy, actually more on commercial surrogacy, because surrogacy has been
shown
in cinema, but our film is based on commercial surrogacy, how an industry developed in Anand and Gujarat. So I think no film has ever touched upon that subject. That is due for release, I think, in March, hopefully. Early next year. And the other one is with Sony Pictures, which is on honor killing. So, which is a reverse take on honor killing. Yeah.
Still in the stages of finalizing. We are like still doing the DI and the technical work on it. So soon as it's ready, it will go into pitch. And then we hope it sees the light of the day very soon.
You are a frequent collaborator with Sanjay Leela Bhansali. Right. Your film Golio Ki Ras-Leela, Ram-Leela completed 10 years earlier this month on November 15th.
Right.
Do you remember the first meeting with Sanjay Leela Bhansali?
Yes,
and the brief? Because this is of course an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet, yes.
We never forget the first meeting with him. Because the first meeting was, you know, we were just meant to go and have coffee, chai with him in his house. And we remember sitting there and both of us were like, okay, we are meeting a legendary filmmaker today and it's a great day in our lives. And little did we know that he will actually offered about 3 subjects to us, you know, knowing that we were not coming from a film writing background. We were writers, but we hadn't yet written a film.
Yeah.
You know, and then he
Like
showed
we were
us,
writing non-fiction in television.
correct.
Okay.
And तो हम दोनों poets हैं, वैसे भी अपने blogs पे poetry लिखते थे. तो printouts ले गए थे. We took poetry printouts for him and he said, no, I'm not looking at something that lyrical this time.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, he kept those papers and I'm sure he read it also. So,
Yeah.
so and then that's how he presented 3 ideas. He gave us 3 ideas. Ki one is this, and one is a violent love story based in Gujarat, based on Romeo and Juliet. So without even discussing with...
Pick up. We said this is what we want to do.
This is what we want to do
But
because...
then, it was also not about what we want to do. Then he said, okay, come back to me with a story. So we took 15 days. We had to sort of grasp the entire Shakespeare because we knew he wanted to convert Romeo and Juliet. So now, first of all, absorbing Shakespeare. We had to read Shakespeare. तो समझ आया नहीं. So we had to buy something called Shakespeare Made Easy. And then we read that.
Shakespeare with?
Shakespeare Made Easy.
Shakespeare Made Easy. Okay.
Yeah.
Literature students के लिए ज़्यादा easy रहता. But then we got the whole gist of the story and then we made our own version of what would an Indian Romeo and Juliet made by Bansali be like. You know, he had very sweetly said that make it like a Siddharth-Garima story, not like a Bansali story.
Yeah. Forget my body of work.
Okay, so that pressure was off.
Also, to tell us about the meeting you had, the Romeo and Juliet he wanted to make. Yeah.
Okay, so he wanted to make a violent Gujarat mein, he wanted to make a Romeo and Juliet, the classic Shakespeare Romeo and Juliet. Now we had to sort of do this research, get a book which is called Shakespeare Made Easy, and then we sort of read through it and understood what the story was, what the characters were, and then Siddharth and me sat and made our own version of what an Indian Romeo and Juliet made by Bansali would be. His brief was very sweetly that don't write it as a Bansali film, make it like a Siddharth-Garima story. तो हमने कहा क्या होगी Siddharth-Garima story? हम तो बिल्कुल
फिर हम तो पागल ही हो गए मतलब फिर हम तो कुछ
so we
भी
went just anywhere with it.
Yeah.
And today what you see as Ram-Leela is 90% of what that story was.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, he bought into it because of the end that we presented to him, that they're going to sort of shoot each other.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How were the sessions like, the discussions like with him? Did you have disagreements with him about the scene? You were telling him how he just was like taken away by one scene that you have written.
Yeah. No, see, the thing is basically he's very picture perfect and all that, but he's also very temperamental.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
वो तो है ही, मतलब आप नरेशन में जाओगे, if we were narrating, अगरबत्ती लगी होती थी, and you know there is a particular माहौल in the entire atmosphere create होता
Which you
था
actually
for
don't see
narration.
anywhere else in a industry narration. You know, we
Yeah.
used to love that phones off. Hai. People are focusing on what you're saying.
Nobody is allowed to get their phones inside that narration room.
It's
You know,
a
so
good way to sort of narrate.
yeah, तो कोई distraction नहीं है and all. But apart from this, like you know, you're saying, yeah, of course, मतलब everything had a process, because we had a process of writing. We never wanted to face a wall and write.
Yeah.
हमको चाहिए था थोड़ा सा, you know, we'll go out somewhere, but he would say कि no, sit here only and write.
Yeah.
So
Those were
of course, these are conflicts.
These were still in his office, but even
Yeah.
on set, I mean, I think where he really thrives is conflict. We feel that's the kind of personality that he is, and for us, it was very important that the film and the scenes have to get made and taken to the next level with what we have on paper.
Right.
Because there was a lot of hard work. Every scene had 6 drafts and 6 versions of it. You can in our computers today also we have those folders that we have saved. You know.
So then, which scene took maximum time?
The scene which is our favorite.
Yeah. Which is the conflict scene, the division between Ram and Leela.
ये तुम्हारा, ये
आज से ये
हमारा.
तुम्हारा, वो हमारा, वो जो scene है, that comes in the
When they
second
become
half.
dons and they divide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Properly.
So that is the longest scene. It's a 16-page long scene. Of course, I think it took 10 days to shoot.
Yeah. Even the climax of Ram-Leela was
Yeah,
very,
that was
very
also that also took almost a week to shoot.
Did you also were like witness to the love story that was which roaming on the brewing between the lead
Now
characters?
we can comment about it. They are married now, I guess. So,
Yes, we could.
we
tell.
could see. Yeah, it was quite visible.
There was
quite
a lot
evident.
of chemistry that was meant to be there between these characters through the script also. So it had to happen. Matlab, we can feel responsible for it also.
True. Like Deepika in one of her interviews has said कि chemistry के बारे में पूछा तो she said it was there in the script. Yeah, but apart from the script also there was chemistry. So
Sure. You know, coming to the music of Ram-Leela, it has that everlasting quality to it. Each song is so good. How you zeroed in on the songs of the film while at the screenplay level?
yeah, it was a
Because the film start with a folk song,
right.
more,
Bani Than Ghat
हाँ.
Kare, right.
and then rest are all originals.
Originals, yes. बाकी जो उसमें even the introduction Chand, that was also written by us, by the way.
When Leela is
When
actually
Leela is
running
entering.
in, sir, वो जो पूरा एक छंद है that describes her beauty. I
Yeah.
do not remember the words now.
Yeah.
अति उर्वर, लहर लहर चल प्रेम बहे. ऐसे कुछ वर्ड्स हैं उसके.
Yeah.
तो बहुत साल पहले लिखा था तो 10 साल में तो मैं भूल सकती हूँ.
But you were talking about a song. How you decided on songs?
So we had
Because
written.
Sanjay Bansali too have an
Yeah.
understanding of music. He knows.
Yeah, right. He composes himself,
Yeah.
so वो तो है ही. So we had written in the screenplay, like we mentioned earlier, that it was written in the screenplay, all the songs, and then he kept picking up lines from here and there and said कि चलो अब बना देते हैं इसको. This is the
So for
song.
example, Lahu Muh Lag Gaya was the first one actually that he composed because
Yeah.
it was there in the first. It's there in the when he comes into her haveli and all
Yeah.
of that. So Lahu Muh Lag Gaya was written in the screenplay. There were 4 lines, and then he started making something, and then he called me and Siddharth to his house. How is it sounding? He said, sounds beautiful because he composes so beautifully.
Yeah.
And then of course while the 4 lines were written pehle, then according to his tunes we started writing the antaras. And
Antaras.
so on and so forth. Similarly with Lalish.
Lalishk, right. With Lalishk, we had written the thing, and then he went to Khandala, he called, and he said, ki, I've made something, do you see how it's sounding? And he sang the song, and it was fabulous.
Yeah.
With the lyrics, he.
Yeah, we had written the lyric, 4 line likha tha upar ka, and then that's
There's
how
a
it was
very
composed.
interesting anecdote around Lalish also. Once there was a music sitting in his office.
Yeah.
Now his music sittings are elaborate, which I don't know how many people are doing this. There's a
Yeah.
tabla wala, there's a harmonium guy.
There's
It's
a
like a
dholak
full
wala. It's
mahal
like an
wala.
elaborate one. Yeah.
So
Wow.
you're very inspired to write also there. So there when Lalish ka one of the sittings was happening, we will not name the person, but one of his lyricists happened to be there, who's now a very good friend of ours. He questioned the lyric. He said, what do you mean तुझ संग बैर लगाया ऐसा रहा ना मैं फिर अपने जैसा. He said फिर किसके जैसा हो गया मैं. So we said अपने जैसा तो नहीं रहा.
हाँ, that is not the point कि मैं तेरे जैसा हो गया या मैं उसके जैसा हो गया.
Yeah.
I have changed. That is a thought ना. Love changes you ना.
Yeah.
So that's that. So before we could say and fight him out and pull his hair out, Sanjay sir jumped into the thing and he said कि नहीं तेरे को नहीं समझ में आ रहा है. रहा ना मैं फिर अपने जैसा अपने आप में complete है.
Also, I've read that how Mr. Bansali used to love his scene and used to lost in his scene, and you have to literally tell him, sir, let's come out and let's carry on with the
Yeah,
rest of the story.
basically for Sanjay sir, a scene is a world.
Yeah.
A scene is an entire film in itself.
Yeah.
So he used to get carried away.
He can. I don't. Carried away is a strong word. I would say. He is too engrossed in that scene कि ये scene हो गया तो मतलब
Picture
गंगा
बन
नहा
गई.
ले होगा बन गई picture.
Let me do this over here only. So you have to say no, sir. There's a screen
is a-
that's spanning out.
Yeah.
We are waiting to do this thing over there, and इसके पीछे ये हुआ है. So which is what our job is as writers to sort of keep our maker in check. You know, that's what we also did.
Yeah.
On set.
How often you all had discussions over one word, use of one word? Like, were there disagreements where he said, no, ये word नहीं use कर सकते, and you were adamant, or other way around?
Yeah. There was couple of instances, actually more than couple. One was where with this one, दोनों की मांग लगे, आधी सुनी आधी लाल in Pinga. So he said, ये क्या है, मेरे को थोड़ा सा uncomfortable कर रहा है ये. That's all his expression was.
Yeah.
So we said, no sir, this is a very layered line. It needs to be in the song.
Yeah.
So we had to push him, and then half-heartedly he said, okay, चलो करते हैं.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with
नैनो वाले. So with नैनो वाले ने this happened that एक वो जो बात है ना चंदन पे नाग सी लिपटी.
हाँ.
So he was like, why are you guys complicating the visual so much for me? I said, you don't have to shoot it like that. This is just a manner of saying, sir. If you don't, so then initially when he got someone to sing it, like of course Neeti Mohanji has sung it beautifully. And initially when she sang it, sometimes a singer is not able to sing perfectly in the first go or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe he was having those challenges, and he called and he said that these words are not working for me. You have to do something else. Like, no sir, we will. For that we said we are not going to change a word in this because we wanted to stick by what it is. It is because he is the person who actually accepts poetry in songs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very few people do that actually. these
That's a good
days.
thing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And we knew that it's going to work. And later on, when the song worked, he called and said, no, it was perfect. Fine, we'll go with this. So, वो होता है, and we just have to hold our ground if we are convinced.
There's a theory for the writer. It's called enter late, come out early. Would you please like to elaborate on that and talk to us about when you were writing the scenes for Ram-Leela, how you applied this theory?
I think it's the opening line of a dialogue of a scene which matters the most.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, for example, you're coming from a scene where the girl and boy have met already. So you start the next scene with them kissing. I'm just saying it's a love story and they're kissing.
Yeah.
So I won't show them entering the door. Maybe that's a different, of course, there is a director's approach to it. I'm talking about the writer point of view right now. It's like, I think that's what it means. Ki by late is, what is already known to the audience. You just snap that out and you just move on.
Explain it. Don't go into over-explaining the thing. And basically enter late, knowing that everybody knows what's happening in this room, and leave early means let them be craving for more.
I understand, but I think with Sanjay sir, the approach is different because we had written it, we are not directing it. So he was the director and he wanted a typical वो अपना जो transitions होते हैं, like from light to light he would transition. If you see Rankorba's scene where the introduction where she's smoking, like he won't overlap a dialogue or take a J cut or anything like that.
Yeah, like I think modern filmmaking is a lot about this that you're saying.
Yeah.
Whereas, the old school filmmaking, I would say old school because it's also the
Classic.
Classic.
I would say
filmmaking.
classic,
Yes,
more than
classic
old school.
Is that tell the audience everything. Don't think they know it. थोड़ा सा उनके साथ hand holding करो.
This is his approach.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is our approach,
But today's
this is his approach.
people doesn't have patience to. They understand that हो गया. You don't need to spoon feed the audience.
Absolutely. See, basically, then you have to keep them interested in the next shocking thing. आज का ज़माना shock का ज़माना है. So you have to keep them shocked. Oh shit! This should be your surprise them.
That is the power of, I would say, for example, a new age filmmaker like Sandeep Reddy Vanga, because these are two people. He's come like so many years after Mr. Bansali, and he's of course, one of his.
So then, how different they are both? Let me put it that way: Mr. Bansali and Sandeep Reddy Vanga in terms of how they approach a scene.
Right.
They are very, very different.
So I'll tell you the world in terms of looking at a scene. One can almost say the difference between a wide shot and a close-up.
Okay.
Vanga is a very moments person. I'm not saying that Sanjay sir is not, but for Sanjay sir, even the world, the mahal is very important.
Right.
For him to know that this is the ambience of my scene. Are the Jugnu sitting on the Haveli ka chat when I'm shooting this? That is his thing. Whereas for Sandeep Reddy Vanga, that moment, what is
Yeah, are
happening
the
in
tears brimming up in the
Yeah.
at the edge of the eye
So
or not?
the biggest difference that we find between them is a close-up and a wide shot. You know,
You may say Bansali is more of a wide shot,
Wide shot
and Sandeep Reddy Vanga is a close-up
he's
person.
a close-up guy and beautiful.
Not
guy.
that
yeah,
it doesn't exist
दोनों
vice
craft
versa,
है.
but वो तो है.
both sides of the craft.
बहुत सा difference है ये तो technically है but but how do you then ensure while writing the song that it should take the story forward?
There is the only way.
Yeah, that is
That
the
is the only way.
Because if a song is being like a break in your film, then because we have always watched other films as we grew up and our films in theaters. So in theaters, you know that this is the moment somebody's going to get up and go and
Take a loo break.
So your song cannot be a loo break.
Yeah.
It has to take your story forward.
The other film that both of you have written was the film called Toilet Ek Prem Katha.
Right.
Was it inspired by PM Modi's Swach Bharat
Not at all.
Abhiyaan?
He was not even.
He was not even in
power.
power when we were doing research and chanoing khak in Madhya Pradesh and UP.
So it was a newspaper
Yeah,
article
he
that
came in
inspired
2014, right?
Yeah.
So we had
2012.
no.
Yes,
He
when-
came in 2014.
But we had the idea in 2012.
12, yeah. So we were doing all our research. I think by 2013 हमारा script तो ready था.
Yeah. So we have to work very hard to dissociate our film from that campaign because it so happened he came in power and the producers decided to announce it with that.
Yeah, not that we don't. मतलब ठीक है. It's a good thing for the industry.
But
you
it
know, that
resonated
we're
well
doing
with
that.
his idea and with
Yeah.
I feel it got a stamp of propaganda which we don't agree
We
with
don't agree.
because
Really?
toilet is a very different subject. It is a necessity. It is not a propaganda of any particular political party.
Correct.
Maybe you never even agree with their ideologies sometimes. It is that for us, for that matter.
Absolutely.
So-
We'd like to believe that it's the most empowering film for a woman. You know, it was, in fact, we came to know later once it worked and it was a super hit. It was screened in panchayats in Haryana for women to actually watch it and get inspired that, okay, you can take a stand if there is no toilet in your house. Those are the things that for us as writers, as makers, really work.
Right. Also, because of the propaganda stamp, no, it never got celebrated as it should have been. Like, like Bill Gates tweeted about it,
Yes.
saying
The most
this is the
impactful
most
film, yeah.
impactful things I've seen in the last 10 years. So, मतलब वो इसका इतना बड़ा big deal नहीं बना because of that propaganda stamp. So,
good film making an impact. Your stories are making an impact. That's a very good thing.
Right.
On that note, I want to thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
a
so
lot for
much.
having
Wonderful
us.
talking
I
to you.
hope Animal does wonders at the box office.
We hope
And
so
looking forward to your directorial
Totally.
venture. Thank you so much for your time and best of luck.
Please make the
Thank
time
you.
to watch
Thank
it
you.
before it comes
Thank
out.
you. Of course.